All right, we've got kind of progress part 2 or 3, whatever this is at this point. We do have the 37 Jeep engine out. Everything went really well. Everything's in pretty good shape. We are going to do kind of an install kit with this vehicle, which is typically your things to ensure that you're not going to have problems or damage the new engine. So we've gone over kind of the spark plugs, so it's going to get new plugs. It does have 3 plug wires and then 3 coil boots that fire the adjacent spark plug. So we're going to get 3 wires, 3 boots, factory OEM Chrysler thermostat. But the thing I want to talk about right now is if you've ever done a clutch or familiar with it, where the input shaft of the transmission is, there's typically a pilot bushing, and it goes around the shaft of the transmission, and it engages in the crankshaft. This is the only automatic engine that I've ever found that I can recollect that has a pilot bushing that goes in the back of the crank, even on an automatic. So it actually centers up that torque converter, and so I'm waiting on it right now from the dealer. I'm hoping it's going to be in possibly today. Obviously, I cannot install the engine until that's in. We've got some new exhaust hardware coming for it. These are kind of a one-time use hardware. They're a small kind of C-clip that holds somewhat of a nut, and they're always an absolute bear to wrestle with. So they typically break coming out, which most of these did. 2 out of the 4 did. So it'll get new exhaust hardware. We're going to reseal the water pump because it is brand new. We have a brand new belt already that somebody else had installed on there. So all that's typically part of the install kit, but we're going to reutilize that because it's new. There was some damage. I think I did an earlier video. I don't know when this particular damage happened, but when you have a cooling fan that spins, it needs to be balanced. And so right there, you can see there's chunks missing off the corners of the fan. And so as I was taking it out, I'm like, well, that's not going to work. What that'll do is it'll kill the bearing in the water pump and throw it out. And then at some point it got hot for the electric fan, and you could see the exposed wires right there. So the issue that took this engine out was an overheat, so we're not playing around with that at all. We are going to clean up a bunch of these parts. We do have the crate engine here. I am basically waiting on that, pardon me, pilot bushing and some of the accessories and the install kit that will, obviously I have a gasket set there, but all new gasket. There is the core engine at this point, or the failed engine that we took out of it. This is the first time that I've run or been able to run my hot tank and utilize it for cleaning parts. And so we've got some more time that this is going to run in here. But when you have an engine job, a lot of people think everything's new. But to somewhat control costs, as expensive as engines are, there are certain things, hard parts, that get reused. And so we're in the midst of cleaning up the, obviously, oil pickup tube, timing cover. That's a brace for the transmission. I figured we might as well clean it up. And then we'd run the valve covers in there once already, but you can see I haven't run this one quite long enough. There's still some schmutz, and that is a very proper term, on that valve cover. So we're going to run it a little bit more. Dampener looks fine. We're going to clean it up. We're going to get some machine work. These are those hardware pieces that I was talking about here. And it's basically a temporary item. This is, for the assembly on the assembly line. And if you ever are able to actually get it out like I got this one out, it's a true miracle. So we have those coming from the dealer as well. The parts washer, that's kind of the clean valve cover. Did a pretty good job on it. I got a little elbow grease to do on it, but we're in pretty good shape. So that's the part we're at right now. I'm basically down to what I consider ground zero, which is where you switch all of your impacts and your ratchets to drive, and you start reassembly. So we're going to get started on that and get this thing banged out. I'll give you a video once we start, do the startup on it, as well as, a final drive to make sure we're in good shape. Hope this is interesting out there. If you've made it this far, please give me a like and a subscribe.